Kamala Harris continues her book tour. She's gone international now. She's speaking to the Brits and the Aussies, and it's not going well, and that's why we love it. Plus, she spoke with Jon Stewart on his podcast and stunned him with a revelation about her judgment of Biden's cognitive abilities. And she revealed exactly what she thought was going to happen on election night. What was going through her mind as she saw those returns coming in? All right, you'll see that in a second. But first, here she is on the tour. Let's remind you, this was from 2 weeks ago. I think we may have played it for you, but this is her tour that she did in the U.S. before she went overseas. Let's remind you exactly what Kamala Harris was thinking with regard to that election.
That is a decent resume, but go ahead.
Well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
I like the some people say. Very nice, but go ahead.
I'm just speaking fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, the some people say. Like Doug, right? I love that Hillary Clinton has to hear that garbage. It's like Hillary's like, girl, I was a senator. I was Secretary of State. I was First Lady. I lived in the White House for 8 years. Oh, yeah, but you're more qualified. What about Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence and other founding documents out of Virginia. Thomas Jefferson was the first Secretary of State. Then he was vice president. But Kamala Harris is more qualified than that. George Herbert Walker Bush was a congressman. He was ambassador to China. He was the CIA director. He was vice president for 8 years, but Kamala Harris is more experienced. Okay. Well, so then she took that grandiose opinion of herself and brought it to this podcast out of Britain. It's a very popular one. I forget what it's called now, though. Something CEO. I'll share it with you in a minute. I like this.
With a CEO.
What is it again?
Diary of a CEO.
Thank you, Kevin. Diary of a CEO. I like it. He's actually, it's an interesting podcast. I recommend it. And he's a Brit, so he's not going to have all the same questions about American politics. But she then sort of, let's just say, fluffed up her resume a bit.
And then, of course, being vice president and doing the work of vice president of the United States, I met with over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. I've negotiated very important deals and issues on behalf of the American people.
Wait, what did I miss in those 4 years? Did she visit the UN, and because all of those people were there, that counts? Can someone fact check this, please? See, she's in Britain, so she can get away with this because no one's going to say, wait a minute, I don't think that's true. Oh, wow, American vice president does all of those things? Hold on.
And then, of course, being vice president and doing the work of vice president of the United States, I met with over 150 world leaders.
When? What am I missing? When did that happen? We know that she didn't travel much. Remember, I've never been to Europe. Did 150 world leaders come to D.C.? And she had a couple of, I think she's talking about like she went to the UN and like shook their hand at some party. But then what did she do?
Presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. I've negotiated very important deals and issues on behalf of the American people.
What deal did she negotiate? I'm being completely genuine with my question. I literally have no idea what deal this woman ever negotiated on behalf of the American people. And by the way, you know who hates hearing this? Joe Biden. That's the question. Someone needs to ask, President Biden, Kamala Harris just said that she negotiated deals on behalf of the American people. Did you empower her to negotiate deals? For people who are, don't understand America's system of government, maybe, you went to public school here in America or you're from overseas, just so you know, the vice president has two duties. Okay, they have two constitutional duties. Number one is they preside as the president pro tem over the Senate, which really just means they sit there and they wait until there's a deadlock and then they break the tie. So they don't even have to be there in the Senate, right? And the other constitutional job is to basically wait for the president to die. And I have no doubt that she was doing that from the second she became vice president, considering who the president was. Any other job function that the vice president has is assigned to her by the president. That's how it works. It happens. The president says, for instance, she was put in charge of NASA, the space program. It's a ceremonial thing. It goes back to Lyndon Johnson's days when Kennedy gave him that assignment. And it's stupid. They don't do anything. It's a photo op, right? So if Kamala Harris negotiated deals on behalf of the American people, Joe Biden had to task her with that. I want Joe Biden to speak. I want Jill Biden to speak on that, who hates her. I would like Jill Biden to explain when Kamala Harris was tasked with negotiating a deal on behalf of the American people. All right, now let's get to election night. We were all there. We remember it well. We've all watched the videos of the cable news talking heads exploding because Trump was going to win November 2024 against all odds, the greatest political comeback in history. But if you're like me, you wanted to be in the room, not where Trump was when all the great returns were coming in. You wanted to be in the room, a fly on the wall with Kamala Harris. You wanted to watch the despair, the confusion, the anger. You wanted to see things thrown across the room, probably at Dougie's head. You wanted to hear the profanity, and you will hear some profanity soon from Kamala Harris. What was it like? What was going through her mind on election night? Well, take a listen.
I was in a state of shock.
Really?
Mm.
Did you think the day before that you were going to win the election?
I did.
Yeah. And so when did the proverbial penny drop?
When I got a call from my campaign manager that it looks like we need 200,000 more votes that we can't find. Meaning it's just the map, the numbers. And the thing I kept saying over and over again, I was in a state of shock. I was so inarticulate, but maybe very articulate. What I kept saying over and over again is, my God, my God, my God.
Really?
Over and I couldn't stop. I haven't felt that emotion, anything similar to the emotion I felt that day and for quite some time, other than the grief I felt when my mother died.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Can we watch this together just for a second? Let's do it.
I was in a state of shock.
Really? Did you think the day before that you were going to win?
By the way, that's the question. I was like, did you really think you were going to win? Seriously? Did you not watch your campaign? Did you not hear yourself in your interviews? Seriously? Okay, so the day before the campaign, she was sure she was going to win. And I guess every candidate holds out hope despite, how things are going. But okay.
The election? Yeah. And so when did the proverbial penny drop?
When I got a call from my campaign manager.
All right. I just need to pause there for a second because, again, I've observed American politics for my whole adult life and professionally now for over 15 years. That's interesting to me that her campaign manager wasn't either in the room or down the hall from her or in just the same geographic space, right? My understanding, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is usually the candidate and their family and the campaign apparatus at the highest levels are all sort of interacting with each other. And they maybe have the top floor of a hotel suite, right? And they're all sort of going back and forth and shuttling back and forth. I've seen the photographs of candidates and their the night of the election as the returns are coming in, and you can see that interaction. Kamala Harris's campaign manager was off site and had to call her to explain what was going on. I mean, I may be making a big deal out of it, but that seems weird to me.
I have a prediction here, Larry.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I think, and I'm not going to say which one, but one of them was probably on a bar stool.
You think there was some painkillers going on there?
Something.
Yeah, I think you may be right. You don't want to say which one?
Could be either. I'm not sure which it would be worse, to be in charge of managing Kamala Harris or to be Kamala Harris.
Well, I do remember that night at Howard University, when it became clear that she was not going to be giving a victory speech and they didn't want to give a concession speech, Kevin, it was the chairman of the campaign. Not either of the campaign managers did not make an appearance. So they could have both been 50 sheets to the wind. Okay, so first it's a phone call, not the campaign manager sitting with her, going over the maps, showing her what's looking like. Okay, it's like, it's not looking good. Here's why. Da, 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 da. Nope. Phone call, which tells me the campaign manager was like, "Oh yeah, Kamala, this is how it's always done. Yeah. No. I'll be in the war room. You just hang here with Doug, and we'll let you know." Because the campaign managers didn't want to have anything to do with this woman. And they did not want the photo ops. They did not want the official photographer to capture the moment of defeat. You don't want to be around a loser when you're in the business of politics. All right. So now let's listen to this. Next part is really revealing.
That it looks like we need 200,000 more votes that we can't find.
Does that language seem weird to you? We need 200,000 more votes that we can't find. Now, maybe this is how campaign people talk. But it seems to me, when President Trump called the Secretary of State of Georgia, you see where I'm going with this, after the 2020 election, when that lengthy count of ballots kept going on and on and on days after Election Day. And you remember Donald Trump used language like, "I need you to find me another 10,000 votes." That language was considered criminal. That language was considered indictable. It was an insurrection. It was a coup when Donald Trump said, "I need you to find me another 10,000 votes." But here we've got Kamala Harris saying, "Campaign manager, we need 200,000 votes that we can't find." Is that how Democrats win an election? They find votes somewhere? Hey, look, we found votes. Well, I'll tell you, Abigail Spanberger, the woman who's running for governor on Election Day this Tuesday coming up in Virginia, when I went to bed in 2020, when she was running for re-election as Congresswoman of the 7th District of Virginia against Nick Fuentes, great podcaster, great member of the House of Delegates in Virginia, Nick Fuentes was in the lead when I went to sleep and when I woke up the next day. And literally the next day after that, they found votes. They found about 15,000 votes for Abigail Spanberger on a thumb drive somewhere. Hey, look, everyone, we found some votes. So maybe that is how Democrats win elections. Okay. Here's some more from this interview that I want to share with you. And this is, so Kamala Harris has already said, gone on record early in the week, she's not done. She's not saying one way or the other, but she's being coy. She's demurring, but she's going to run again. Of course she's going to run again. She's addicted to it. These politicians are all addicted to it. But she's got a solution. She's got a plan for victory for herself and other Democrats going forward. Here's the plan, everybody. What could go wrong?
I think we should reduce voting age to 16. I'll tell you why. So Gen Z, their age about 13 through 27. They've only known the climate crisis. They missed substantial parts of their education because of the pandemic. If they're in high school or college, especially in college, it is very likely that whatever they've chosen as their major for study may not result in an affordable wage. They've coined the term climate anxiety to describe fear of not only being able to buy a home, but that fear will be wiped out by extreme weather, but fear of having children. It is expected that Gen Z will have 10 to 12 jobs in their lifetime. They are a larger number than boomers. They're a specific generation of people who are going to impact our nation and the world.
Also, it's fortunate that they're uneducated and they don't live in the real world. Their bills are paid for, and they don't actually have to deal with the policies that Democrats inflict on them. So they're still naive enough to think that we have some good ideas that are going to work. She left that part out. Yeah, let's lower the voting age to 16. This is no joke. Democrats are doing this all across the country for local elections. Get them younger. Oh, and also they have the benefit of currently being brainwashed in the public schools by teachers, public school teachers who are in our back pocket. So, of course, we want them, those brainwashed numbskulls, to vote as well. Be careful of this. Watch this in your neighborhood. And yes, I meant Nick Freitas, obviously. Nick Freitas. You know, can I tell you? All right. Kamala, what's next with Kamala? Oh, yeah. Now it's time for her F-bombs. I guess this is how she's going to appeal to those 16-year-old voters. She's just going to let loose with a bunch of profanities. This is a weird one, though, as she's describing her book.
Right. Like, am I just like, fuck it?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't ask the question with pretense.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Are you just like, fuck it, no, it doesn't matter? Because the book had fuck it energy.
Yeah, I think there is that energy in the book.
There you go. The book has it energy. By the way, do you agree with me? I missed that laugh. Didn't you miss that laugh? Oh, what a laugh. I'm sorry. It is Halloween, and you knew there was going to be some jump scares in this video, didn't you? She continued the F-bombs, this one with Jon Stewart, Jon Stewart's podcast. By the way, copyright issues on this video, so it'll be a screenshot for Jon Stewart, but here's what she had to say with lots of F-bombs dropped in there because she's cool with the kids, you know.
Are you fucking kidding me? This guy wants to create a ballroom for his rich friends while completely turning a blind eye to the fact that babies are going to starve when the SNAP benefits end in just hours from now? Come on. So what? I'm not going to be distracted by, oh, does the guy have a big fucking hammer? What about those babies?
If you made any sense of that, good for you. Kind of incoherent, but at least you got the F-bomb out there as much as possible. Yeah, are you kidding me, she said, about Trump in the ballroom and about SNAP benefits for starving babies, who, of course, if they are starving because of Democrats. But sure, are you kidding me? Now, here's the fun thing about it. This next passage doesn't have an F-bomb, but it's Jon Stewart's turn to think to himself, are you kidding me, about what Kamala Harris says.
I believe he was fully competent to serve.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That surprises me, actually.
No, I do. There's a distinction to be made between running for president and being president.
What's the distinction?
Well, being a candidate for president of the United States is about being in a marathon at a sprinter's pace, having tomatoes thrown at you every step you take.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's more than a notion.
Get involved in public service, ladies and gentlemen.
And to be the seated president, the sitting president, while doing that, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I think it's a hard case to make for people that he didn't have the stamina to run, but he had the stamina to govern. Because I think most people view the presidency as a marathon run at a sprint with tomatoes being thrown at you in terms of governance.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, John. And he's being really charitable there because, well, he's on her team. But she keeps making this point over and over again. Yeah, running for president. That's a lot harder than actually being president. By the way, have you watched Donald Trump perform the duties of president of the United States? I don't think Kamala Harris could keep up and do it. I don't think she has the energy to be a president in the style that Donald Trump has been the president, let alone Joe Biden. But what she's really saying here, and let me translate it for you, is that being president wouldn't have been a big deal for Joe Biden, despite his incapacity, because we already covered his butt for 4 years. We had the auto pen. We had the team who was really running things. We had, the infrastructure there. All he had to do is get the suit on and show up when the cameras were there now and again, which was rare, by the way, because he spent most of his time hiding. So, yeah, I guess that is easy compared to actually running for president. I mean, let's face it, the campaign hadn't even started yet. He did one debate, which involved him standing at a podium for 90 minutes and answering questions from the likes of Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, and he couldn't cut that. But being president, we had that covered. We had a whole system in place. Autopen, baby. That's what she's saying. And it's time for journalists to call her on it. But instead, she just had more F-bombs to drop with Jon Stewart, because it's a party, man. Buy my book.
The Republicans are selling a product they don't believe in.
Right.
But Democrats aren't. So how does that square?
We need to do better.
Oh.
I mean, this is,
Well, I guess we're
but we
done.
do. But we do.
Yeah, and so even Jon Stewart has to laugh at this and in his own way sort of call out and properly mock what she has to say. So Jon Stewart is acknowledging that Republicans have done a better job for the first time in my adult life of actually selling to the American people who we are, what we stand for, and what we're going to do. And by the way, President Trump has demonstrated that we will do it unless Democrats stop us from doing it. And that's very appealing to a lot of voters in this country. We can just do things. Isn't this great? Look at that. And so Democrats have trouble with that. And what's this political genius's solution? This is the woman who wants to run for president again. She thinks she should be president. She thinks she's the most qualified person ever to run for the office. So that must make her a political genius, even though she's never actually faced any real competition, or when she has faced real competition, she has lost because she's a California Democrat. She ran for office in San Francisco as a Democrat. She ran statewide as a Democrat a couple of times. And then she was given the running mate job after crashing and burning when she tried to run as a Democrat in the primaries and didn't even make it to the first primary. So then she was handed the vice presidency on a silver platter. She was handed the nomination on a silver platter. And when she actually faced voters in a contested election where Republicans are not neutered and a shell of a party like they are in California, she crashed and burned and lost miserably. Historically miserably. But here's the solution of the political genius that is Kamala Harris about what Democrats have to do.
Republicans are selling a product they don't believe in.
Right.
But Democrats aren't. So how does that square?
We need to do better.
There it is. There you go. Come on, Democrats. There's your advice. There's the strategy. There's the plan from Kamala Harris. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? Democrats are losing. You're our leader. We need your advice. Lead us. What should we do? Do better. Do better. I mean, I said it before, and after this series of interviews that we've just highlighted, I'm going to reiterate it, double down, and say it again. The Democratic Party, the leadership of Democrats nationwide, the guiding lights of the corporate legacy media, from newspapers to television networks to academia, pop culture, late night TV shows in Hollywood, they all told us a year ago next week, they told us that that woman is the greatest, most transcendent political candidate to ever grace the American public stage and ask for votes for president. She was it. She was the greatest, and she ran the most perfect campaign. She only had 107 days after all, and if only she had more time, she would have won. And I say, you're right. As a Republican, as a conservative, as an American, you're right. And if you don't just give her the nomination again like you did last time, if you don't just by acclamation allow her to be your nominee in 2028, you're racist. You're sexist. You're Islamophobic and homophobic. I don't know why, but I'll get there. Either way, you're a bigot. After all, you told us, you promised us that she was the greatest, and you only gave her 107 days. Give her another chance. She's ready. Kamala 28. Kamala 28. Please. Begging.